Oh, yeah. Well, welcome to the shack. For the GTF show. Gabriel talks football. A football mind is what you find. Gabriel talks football. Oh, the GTF show.
Welcome everyone to a fresh episode of GTF Gabriel Talks Football. My name is Aldo Gandia. A quick programming note tonight. It will be not GTF. Draft on tap. DOT. Craig is laughing at me behind the scenes, as he should be. Danny Shipman and Aaron Kearns will give us all the latest news in free agency, plus evaluate the board to see how those free agent moves will impact the Chicago Bears draft decisions. Let's bring in Greg now. Greg, my friend, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good.
You know, if I was falling asleep, that opening would, just wakes you right up.
How about it? I'm usually dancing and moving while that thing is playing.
I like it.
I'm told we have a nasty echo. Is it still there, people? Is it still there? Please let me know, because sometimes it's there just for a few seconds after the opening video runs. So let me know.
I don't hear an echo. So
yeah, I don't hear it either. So hopefully it is gone. So let's proceed. No, it is gone. Thank you very much, Russell.
Hey, you know what we got to do? Because you and I are doing this and we're not paying attention to what the hell's going on.
Yes.
If anybody who's watching, if there's any Bears news, any signings, let us know.
Please let us know. We've got some great reporters in the chat room, so to speak. So I know they will be up to the task and even more. All right, Greg, we have to start with news that we just heard about minutes ago, and that is that the Chicago Bears will not get any draft compensation picks. It is apparently official. They released a list of all the teams that are getting comp picks, and there's like 33 comp picks awarded, but not a single one to the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, that's the first thing I did was look at the third round, and that was the only round I had to look at.
Yeah.
That sucks, and I don't know. You know me. I'm always positive. If I'm the Bears, I protest the thing and file a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And a couple of my followers said the same thing. They sent me the thing. And there was an instance, it was a couple of years ago, might have been last year, where a team said, no, it wasn't, they got like a 5th round pick, and they said, no, we should be getting a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they ended up getting it. So, the owners' meetings are at the end of this month. And I think there's still going to be a little talking going on.
A sliver of a chance.
Yeah. I mean, right to the top, to the commish.
Yeah.
Between George and the commish.
Yeah. Who makes that decision now? Or it's got to be approved by Goodell before it goes out the door, right?
The management council does that right now.
Gotcha.
He rubber stamps that stuff, but yeah, it sucks. Is what it is. We'll see if anything changes. There's still 6-7 weeks till the draft.
Yeah.
So
the best explanation that I heard for it on social media, and I'm assuming this is true, I didn't confirm it, is that the management council looked at the Atlanta Falcons organizational chart, and they saw that Ian Cunningham was reporting to Matt Ryan. And because he's not reporting to ownership, that's why they feel the Bears shouldn't get the 3rd round comp pick. What are your thoughts on that?
All I know is he was signed as the general manager. The rules said general manager. He's the frickin' general manager. The idea was to get people of color, minorities into those roles. And so you reward the team that had the person for developing that talent, and they're going against their own rule.
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I have not heard a really good reason why the Bears should not get this
Because
comp.
they don't want to, because they're being assholes.
I wonder why. I mean,
I don't know.
The league likes George McCaskey. I don't understand why.
Hey, well, you know what? Nothing we can do about it right now, so I don't want to spend the whole show bitching about it.
Yeah, I hear you.
But not a bad day. Started off, let's go back. Let's go back to, was it Friday they make a trade with New England?
Yes.
It didn't take them long when Dolman. Now, I talked to an agent today, and the agent said they better get that $4 million back. So and that's not something you're gonna see announced. It's just gonna all of a sudden show up, whether it's this year or next year. It shows up, but this is agents who want money for their clients. They better get the $4 million back.
Yeah, I am of the same opinion. Now, have you heard anything through your sources about why Drew Dahlman chose to retire?
No.
Okay,
not a word. And I'm sure it's a personal matter. There's some guys that just, they got kids, they got family, and they've been relatively healthy, and it's like, okay, I got enough money.
Yeah.
And they're done. But my thinking though on the $4 million, and I had text conversation with Biggs. He goes, the Bears aren't usually that way. I said, if it was in the last year of the contract, I'd let it go. He literally, from the day he signed the contract until the day he quit, was less than a calendar year. So I said, you get the money back.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, in most cases,
because what it is, a bonus is an advance. Okay, so and that's why it's allocated as far as accounting purposes. They do it over the length of the contract. This was a $6 million signing bonus. There was a lot of money guaranteed, but the guarantees go out the window when he retired. But the signing bonus, then if things are done correctly, he owes the Bears $4 million.
Yeah. And I agree with J2K. It smells like Drew Dahlman signs this big contract, and then he got, a big chunk of it and retired, knowing that he was only going to play a year or so with the Chicago Bears.
That very well could be true.
Yeah. I mean, that's unethical to me, but I don't want to, I'm just speculating that Mr. Dahlman.
No, I know. There's been other people that walked away. Jimmy Brown was the first one.
That's right. Under contract, he went
to Barry Sanders is another one. So it's not. But he's younger than both of them were. Dahlman's like 27 years old.
He's a young man. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, another guy who was talking about retirement last season plays for the Detroit Lions, the left tackle, Taylor Decker.
Taylor Decker.
Is he coming to the Chicago Bears? What's your gut say?
My gut say is no. If you can get him real cheap, I'm going back to what the doctors tell me. And the doctors say that Ozzy's only going to miss 6 games, 7 games, and you can use as an example the Kansas City tackle who they took in the first round last year.
Mm-hmm.
He did not miss a day of training camp, tore his 2 months earlier, really about 6-7 weeks earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But you take that, you tack that onto the beginning of training camp, which is say, give or take August 1st, you get the middle of September. It's the same thing, same time frame. You put them on PUP and you miss 6 weeks when you're on PUP, and then you're ready to go. There was a bunch. I've seen different things, so I don't know what's true and what's not. But that this year, it said this year was guaranteed, and if this year was guaranteed and he retired, he doesn't get that money anyway. But there was a bunch of guaranteed money in there that he's already been paid.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can get him real cheap. It's a different story. But here's the thing: he was terrible last year. I mean, real bad last year. Now, in fairness,
he didn't practice during the week because he was nursing that shoulder.
He had a couple injuries. He had like a foot injury, a shoulder injury, also, and that's why he was going to retire. So now the year before, he's pretty good. Probably had one of his better years.
Yes.
So, but based on last year, you use last year's tapes. God, no, I can't do that. But again, I'll say if he is healthy, he can pass a physical.
Mm-hmm.
What I would do if I was the Bears, I'd bring him in and work him out. I'd want the physical first before, I mean, it doesn't really matter in a situation like that. He's got to pass the physical anyway. Yeah. You can make a deal. But I just wouldn't want to pay him a lot of money.
Yeah, I totally agree. I listened to an interview that he did prior to the last game of the week of the 2025 season against the Bears. And he was talking like a guy who just could not go anymore. And they were asking him, are you going to make an announcement today whether you're retiring? He goes, no, I'll let you guys know after the season. But this has been a tough season, he said.
Yeah, it was. And you know what the saying is, when you're thinking about retiring, you're retired.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I want hands off on him. I just don't think he's the guy to be a bridge holder.
Here's the thing. Just for sake of argument, because personally I would not do it, but
me too.
I don't have the results of the medical and where he stands right now.
Yep.
Excuse me. He has been a warrior, and by the way, this time of day I start coughing a lot. You may be muting me.
Okay, absolutely.
You get the medical, and the doctors say you should be go, and then you also are going to know literally week by week how far away is Ozzy.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you make a decision and go from there. The thing is, whatever his contract is, if he's on the roster week 1, he's getting paid for that whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And so knowing that, they think, well, okay, let's say Ozzy misses 8 games and then he can play. Well, then he's playing 9 plus potentially playoff games. Well, why should I pay this guy X amount of dollars when I know the other guy's going to be playing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's my concern regarding your prediction that Ozzy is going to miss 6 to 8 weeks of the season is that unless the doctor that you talk to or doctors that you talk to know the extent of that tear of the patella tendon, because there's 3
I'll tell
ways.
You that off the air.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's move on to a different topic. Okay. Gotta ask you about your thoughts regarding this news that just came in from Adam Schefter. Veteran quarterback Case Keenum is re-signing with the Bears on a 2-year, $5.5 million deal with a max value of $8 million. Does that tell you that Tyson Bagent is going to be moved?
No, tells me that he's going to stay. That's your number 3 quarterback who's a veteran, who's real good in the room, helps the young guys. He's not getting paid backup money.
Mm-hmm.
So he's getting what, $2.75 million a year.
Right.
Okay, that's not backup money. So
that's not free money. I gotcha.
So he's number 3.
Okay. All right. Another question.
Could there be a plan for number 2 if they in fact trade. Oh, yeah, there could be,
Yeah.
but there isn't. You know, one guy I was thinking about, and I would mention it a few weeks ago, was Trubisky.
Yeah, but he signed.
He just signed with Tennessee.
Mhm.
And you know what? You get him. He's a good backup, and he's a good guy to have around too.
Yeah.
He isn't an a-hole, or he's not going to stir up the shit.
Right.
But he was a number one here. That probably wouldn't sit well with him
No.
under those circumstances.
Yeah, it would feel a little awkward. There's no doubt about it. Now, there's also the news. The Bears reacted quickly to the Drew Dahlman news and signed the former Patriot center.
Traded for him.
Excuse me. Thank you. But when I saw this, I wondered if the Bears didn't act too quickly. The Packers are releasing their two-time Pro Bowl center, Elgton Jenkins.
They're releasing him because he stinks. And then they just signed. They gave a big contract to the guy who took his place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I forgot what the guy's name is because I don't follow Green Bay. But it was just like a day or two ago, they gave him the money, a big contract, and Sean Ryhan or something like that.
Yeah.
And so this guy, he's making too much money. They had to get rid of him. But he hasn't played worth a damn in a couple of years.
Gotcha.
So they got, they're pulling the plug. Now he does have versatility in that he can play a bunch of positions.
Mm-hmm.
But number one, I like this move. Now here's the one thing that people don't understand. You're talking to agents all the time.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff doesn't unfold today. They made that trade what the market was for centers.
Yeah,
okay.
That makes sense.
Okay, so I thought the best fit for the offense that they play, I just keep looking on here to see if there's anything, because my phone keeps beeping. The best fit I thought was McGovern for the Bills. Well, he re-signed with the Bills really right after that trade was made. And I guarantee you the Bears knew that. That was going to happen. Because the money wasn't bad. Money was a 14 average. It's actually less money than Dahlman got. You'd be basically flipping him. A couple years older, but he's been healthy. He can play two positions. He was Josh Allen's center the last 2 years. Really played good football. Linderbaum was going to cost money. Did I think he was going to cost $27 million? That's the most fucking ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Yeah. $9 million more, or $8 million more than the previous $9 million more than the previous highly paid center, which is Creed Humphrey in Kansas City, who was getting $18 million average. And so he had a 472, and this guy's going up. He's getting $27 million a year. I mean, just totally fucks up the the center market going forward.
Yeah, really, it does.
All of them probably come in and go, yeah, but
good for you. Although he's not seeing a penny of that.
Right. You're saying, God, I should come out of retirement for that.
Does his son play center?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why he's so happy.
He's undersized.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
He's 6'1". He's big. He's 6'1", and he's got short arms. But I tell you, guy's tape is really good.
Oh, excellent. He's got the best coach you can imagine in his dad. That's wild.
He'll get drafted later. He'll be a free agent, but he will play.
Okay, so let's talk about the new center for the Chicago Bears. What have you heard about his play? I heard that with the Vikings, he was so-so, but with the Patriots last year, his play was outstanding. What have you heard?
Well, the Vikings had a lot of changes. He started off really good. Okay, and then I think his play might have faltered some. They let him go. New England signed him. Played. It was like Dahlman for here. Played every snap. Didn't give up a sack. Just really played solid football. 4 playoff games. The guy's played, not including playoff games, and he's been in a bunch of playoff games, 120 games as a starter. He has started every game he's played since he's come in the league.
Wow.
So this is a guy with a lot of experience. He roomed with Tooney in college.
Yeah, that's great news.
Okay, so they were like road roommates. So they know each other. They know each other very well. He's got two really good players on each side of him, probably the best two players he's ever had in his career. I see it as it's fine. And when you look at it, you know, you're paying him, I think his cap number's like, I think I read 4.7 million for this year is his cap number.
Oh, okay. That's not bad.
No. So, and it's the last year of his contract.
Right.
But it's, I think it's the last year. Might have one more after this. But so they got him relatively cheap.
Yeah.
Then the other thing, talked about it last week. I said I talked to a guy that is real familiar with DA scheme. I don't want to say who it is, and knows what they were looking for. And we talked about it last week. We got to get faster in the front seven. Okay, so they re-signed Jackson, who out of nowhere plays like a crazy man last year when Tremaine goes down.
Yeah.
They re-signed him at a good figure. Then they signed Devin Bush. They got both of them for what they were paying Tremaine. I think there's $1 million difference.
Yes, there's about $1 million. Yeah, that's not bad. That is not bad at all.
You know, Devin Bush, when he came out of now, Devin Bush was a terror early in his career. He was a first-round pick by the Steelers. He had 108 tackles as a rookie. You know, and was really playing good. Then he got hurt, and he kind of was up and down, but was a terror again this year in Cleveland. 2 pick sixes. Video of it on Twitter today. I mean, he was like running away from people, and he at 29 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, he can still run. So they took care of that, and then you got the big guy they picked up from Indianapolis, and I'll be honest, I didn't know anything about him, you know, and so I texted Ballard. Okay, what is he? He said, and he said he's pretty damn good. He says he's a great kid, works his ass off, these are his words, works his ass off, plays his ass off, great versus the run, can run like hell. I said, how big is he? He said he played between 315 and 320 all year. So average, you know, he that was his they get weighed every week. Every team does that. And he was between 315 and 320 all year. He was a 4.79 guy coming out of college, 3rd-round pick by the Cowboys. He played 4 years for the Cowboys, 1 year for the Rams. So I called my buddy at the Rams. Thumbs up. You know, he's in this scheme, he'll be the one technique.
Okay.
And he can run. And what they want to do? Get speed. And he's really good against the run. He had 3.5 sacks, played 40-something% of the snaps for the Colt defense. They play a rotation like everybody else. But he's playing the one technique. And he's a good player. I mean, he's a good fit for what DA wants to do. Now you have to have 2 players, you know, 2 players at each position. Who's the other guy? Is that Dexter? Could be.
Well, we'll find out soon, I bet. Something that I read also, another endorsement for Gallimore, just before he left the Cowboys, Mike McCarthy said, this kid is improving, you know, every day. He didn't use these words, but the classic late bloomer, a guy who comes into the league, has troubles and so forth. And about his 3rd season with the team, he starts to show dramatic improvement. And
well,
like
he's a 3rd-round pick, so he had to show something when he was at Oklahoma. But he's a Canadian kid.
Right. He is
from Ottawa. And, you know, we had Izzy Idonije. It took Izzy a few years to get going.
Right.
But once you get going, it's good. I think again, I didn't know anything about it. And Chris isn't going to bullshit me. You know,
is Billings coming back, do you think?
Because it's Billings can't run and they want speed.
Yeah.
That's why they brought up the Penn State kid last week.
Zane Durant.
Yeah.
Ooh, the Bears have talked to him. I did not know that. That one.
I don't know if they talked to him. I said that's why I brought it up when we talked about.
Oh, you brought it. I
Yeah.
misunderstood you.
And
Gotcha.
so, you know, that if you're looking for guys, you know, I thought the guy in my mind, I didn't know anything about this guy. So when I was looking at the free agent list, so I didn't check. But, you know, Franklin Myers from Denver, I go, that's the guy that fits the mold of what they're looking for.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Well, he just got $20-something million a year. Well, they're not. They don't have the money to do that.
Yeah.
Not this year. So I think they've spent. If you look at these deals, they've spent their money wisely. The guy who's got the most money is Kobe Bryant, the safety.
Keds says, I watched him grow up. He's from my hometown. He played in the same team as my son. He's a great kid. He's putting in the work, and he is improving. You're talking about Gallimore, right, Keds? Just to confirm that. And then Do It All 36 says, Gallimore ran a 4.79.
Yeah, no, dude can run. And you watch. So I watched some tape today, indie tape from this year. And I had, you know, I got my iPad here, so I had the network on, watching that, and I got indie tape on at the same time watching. He can run.
That's awesome.
He gets off the ball, and I really knew nothing about him.
Okay, let us now talk about the safety they're saying. The first announcement was about Gallimore, and then they went out and signed Kobe Bryant. No, not that Kobe Bryant, but the one that played with the Super Bowl winning champions, Seattle Seahawks, 3-year deal.
Kansas.
Yes, 3-year deal, $40 million, played 15 games last season, had 4 interceptions, 4 tackles for loss, 7 pass breakups. He's known as a ball hawk and physical. And somebody in the chat just asked the question, is he replacing Brisker or Bayard?
I say he's replacing Bayard.
Yeah, that's what I think when I see what he's done.
No, that's what he is. I knew him coming out, and I know him. He's a hell of a player now, and he'll knock your dick off. I mean, he can hit. So, he'll lay people out. And he's fast. Again, speed. He was a 4.48 safety coming out. And he's got man cover skills. So I posted on X, I don't know, an hour ago. I go, a lot of safety's been signed. Brisker hasn't. And I'm just, wondering if there is any interest at the right money bringing him back.
Yeah. And he posted about an hour ago, prayer hands. So apparently there might be a deal in the works with some team. I think, after this Kobe Bryant signing, he's probably thinking maybe they too want me in Chicago after all. So
I just personally think, I think Kobe's tough enough that he could play either, but he doesn't have the bulk. He's not as big as Brisker is. He's, he was 6'1", 195 or something, 193 coming out of Kansas. He's probably a little heavier now, but you see him on the field. He's a little leaner build, but he hit, like I tell you, he hits.
Yeah, he does. I've seen some tape.
But, and he can run. I mean, real rangy. So I could see. So if Brisker played every week like he did against the Rams in the last game, I mean, he might have been the best defensive player on the field in that game.
Yeah. And J8K says, too bad Brisker can't play every game like he did against the Rams. I think that he can. I think that he's growing.
Here's what I think he isn't like why he's still sitting there right now. Because he missed all that time with concussions.
Yep.
So who knows him? Who knows him better than anybody?
Yeah,
the Bears.
Yep. Well, it's interesting too. I mean, it almost felt like a slap in the face when they said we were interested in bringing Bayard back. They said it 2 times publicly, and to say that and not mention Brisker at all, I wonder if he's. I personally would be unhappy about that.
If you were him,
yes,
he very well could be. I mean, somebody asked me on X, could they bring back Byard? And I said, I don't see it with Kobe because of the same position, that free safety type. You know, and to play down low in the box and stuff, to me, that's not Bryant's game.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, so are you going to take away from his game to have him play what Brisker did?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but you know, we'll find out. I mean, it's if they want him, he's there.
Yeah.
And you know, right as every day goes on, price got to come down a little bit.
Absolutely.
Now, now the prices are crazy. I mean, the edge money, absolutely. Awe got $25 million a year.
Yeah, that's wild.
Mafe got, you know, our buddy Mike McCartney's got him. He got like $21 or $22 million a year.
Mike is smoking a cigar right now.
I know. Just crazy money for some of these people. And hey, more power to them. You know, you're worth what
Absolutely.
People pay you. But,
well, I think it was weird that the NFL kind of allowed the news to leak out that Roger Goodell was accelerating the negotiations for TV and streaming rights. They have an option to move it up from 2029, I think, to 2026, and he's done so. And to do that just before free agency happens, the agents are all sitting there and saying, hey, you're going to come into a windfall in the next year.
It went up. It's gone up in 5 years. It's gone up $100 million. It's going up $20 million a year.
And it could go to a historical amount coming up. Yep.
Yep. So, you know, somebody had posted that the other day. It was like in 2021, it was like $210,000 or something like that. And now it's 301.
Yep. Somebody made a point. I think it was Best Meat Marinade, and I wanted your reaction to it. Do you think that Jaquan Brisker's social media criticisms of former head coach Matt Eberflus have hurt his relations with the current Bears administration?
No.
Because they all knew it was true that Eberflus sucked.
If you noticed, I mean, he wasn't the only one. Okay, there's a lot of guys that were, you know, saying a lot of things that whole year showed lack of control by you had a head coach and then an interim head coach, but lack of control to let the players even be involved in some of that stuff.
Yeah,
was crazy.
Indeed.
Okay, and then the first time something was said, it should have been nipped in the bud right away. And it wasn't.
And it was not. You're right. All right, we got to talk about the other major acquisition today for the Chicago Bears, and that is this linebacker who was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers and really came into his own with the Cleveland Browns last year, Devin Bush. Tell me what you know about him.
Well, I've been following this guy since he was at Michigan. He was a first-round pick. The only thing wrong with him is he's short.
5'11", yes.
He's got longer arms, though. He ran a 4.43 coming out.
Unbelievable.
Okay. So he goes to Pittsburgh, and, you know, they're base 3-4. So he's an inside backer and that. And he has 108 tackles his rookie year.
Yeah.
And then he started to get banged up a little bit. And I started thinking, well, maybe he's too small. But when you look at him, he's put together. He's short, but he's big. And he just had some injury problems, but he's had 4 seasons over 85 tackles, I think, total, and 2 over 100. Excuse me. With the last being this past year with Cleveland. And, you know, he's very instinctive. And to me, instincts for a linebacker are ultra important. And he's very physical. And he's another guy like Kobe. He'll knock your head off, give him a chance.
Yeah. The word on Bush that I heard is his rookie season with the Steelers was fantastic. Then the following season, he suffered an ACL tear that basically ruined his next 2 seasons with the Steelers. Then last year, he put it all together, had 2 interceptions, run for touchdowns. The only linebacker in the NFL to do that.
Yeah, and there was a video, the one on today after the Bears signed him, and like I said earlier in the show, he was running away from people.
That's unbelievable. Like you said, 4.43 in the 40. They wanted to get fast. Oh my God, did they get fast?
No, they did. You know, Kobe Bryant's 4.48.
Yes, yes.
Jackson's 4.56, I believe, when he came out. Mm-hmm. So, you know, they never run again after they come out. So, you know, but that's the only thing you got to use. They could, you know, could he run a 4.43 today every time? No, but they play fast because they know how to play.
Yeah. So a couple of funny comments about Ian Cunningham is that maybe Ian Cunningham is really white. And he can't name any songs by rap artists. You get out of here, McNolegs, with your bad jokes. I'm laughing though. But yeah, I'm super excited about Devin Bush. What happens now to TJ Edwards? Because he really doesn't fit the mold of what the Bears want to do.
I looked at his contract today. You got him for 1 more year.
Yeah, you can't do anything about it.
It's a negative cap hit. You lose the salary plus the prorated bonus, and so the dead money is crazy, and they can't afford to do that. And he's a good player if you don't ask him to play man coverage.
Yeah, yes, that is true. I mean, he's got phenomenal instincts.
And you play him in the short zones, he's good. Against the run, he's very good. Mm-hmm. But when you ask him to play man coverage, especially down the middle, he can't do it because he can't run.
Indeed.
But I think, you know, he's the way that contract's set up, he'll be here or, you know, this year, unless you could trade him.
Right. Which is unlikely, right?
Yeah, I would say it's unlikely.
Yeah.
But now you saw Tremaine got $36 million right away.
Yes, indeed. Very nice contract.
Somebody thought that, that'll help with the comp pick. No, it doesn't. They cut him.
Yeah.
It means nothing.
That's right. So Tremaine is now with the New York Giants, paying him $36 million with $24 million guaranteed 3-year deals.
Dominic Robinson got $4 million from the Texans.
Wow, I was shocked at that. But everybody's making money except you and me, Greg. What the fuck?
I know.
It's like, come on, share some of that with us older guys. Okay, so TJ Edwards, if you got any questions about any of the linebackers on the team, fire away. In fact, any questions at all,
there's going to be more signings. You know, who knows if there are going to be any more today?
Yeah, I doubt today, right? Mm-hmm. Yep.
I remember a couple years ago, might have been it was the first year for polls, and I had I sent maybe around 7:00. I sent a text to Stein. I go, "Are you done for the day?" He goes, "1 more." And about 15 minutes later, you know, they announced it. And
that was just a few years ago. I think I remember.
Yeah, that was the defensive end who played for the Titans.
Gotcha.
And you know, so yeah, there could be another one. You know, I figured I had down. You know, they really needed like 7 players, couple safeties. I said a linebacker. They really got just one linebacker because they brought. But Jackson was a free agent. I mean, you know, he could have gone somewhere else. So that's taken care of. Probably need, you know, 2 defensive linemen in the draft. You need another safety. You need at least 1 wide receiver. You know, they're really, if they did nothing else, they're sitting good looking into the draft, but there'll be some more signings. There always is.
Gotcha. Already some good questions are coming along. Let's start with Alex Machado. He's asking, so is TJ Edwards going to be the strong side linebacker?
They only play with 2. They rarely play with 3.
Yeah.
So he'll be the backup Mike.
Gotcha. Oh, that'll be interesting. Let's see. I got a great question here from Hoho Loco. He's saying, what are we going to do at the left tackle position? Who's
Okay.
available?
We went through this last week, and when we played the Dan Rochar tape,
Yes.
the people said, "Well, he didn't say that." I go, "Yeah, he did. We played it."
Mhm.
You know,
Yes,
he said,
indeed.
he goes, "Yeah, we could do this, we could do that." Blah blah blah. He goes, "Well, we'll probably end up doing what's in the house."
Yes.
You know, and which means I've already talked about it. So, okay, what are the options? The options are you got. I've gone brain dead on his name, the Canadian kid,
Theo Benedict.
Theo Benedict, who started 6 games and they won every game that he started. Okay, now if you're going to know more going forward, yeah, Taylor Decker's out there. I think Taylor. We talked about that earlier. To me, you got to get him real cheap because he was so bad last year, and he's going to retire. So what's his health? Because he was hurt all year. So I'll give him a pass because he was playing hurt, but he did not play good. But the year before, he played pretty good. Speaking of tackles, Larry Borum went to Detroit. I can't wait to play the Detroit Lions. That's
Larry Borum with the Lions.
well, I tweeted. I said golf my last 2 games.
Absolutely. That team is in trouble. I'm predicting 4th place for the Lions. I'm sorry. Anyway,
So there's Amagaji, and you could re-sign Braxton.
Braxton Jones. Yes, I'm surprised, frankly, that Borum was signed over Braxton Jones.
Well, Braxton has missed a lot of time the last 2 years.
Yeah, very true. I think the only season he played every game was his rookie season. So we'll see.
But so now there's a durability thing. So now if I'm him, I want to sign a 1-year deal here where I know I can play at least a half a dozen games, get some good tape, and then maybe have a chance to make some money a year from now. Now, the Bears got to agree with that too. So,
yeah.
So this is options we got plenty of time.
And for Karan Amagaji, this is the year, right? He's got to prove that he's an NFL
Better get off the pot, really does.
Yeah. And if he
used that phrase in a long time.
and if he doesn't show that he belongs in training camp, he could be an early cut, right?
Well, yeah, it's the traits are there. He's been hurt 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I mean,
and so he's got to, starting with the offseason program and then right up through training camp, he's got to be able, be available every single day.
All right, so the left tackle position. Do you have said you don't think they're going to draft a tackle in day 1 or day 2? Are you still holding to that?
Yep.
Don't you think that the addition of a 2nd round pick kind of maybe opens the door a little bit?
Nope.
Really?
Because, I said it last week. Then you wasted the pick you made on Ozzie Trapillo.
Well, I'm still worried about Trapillo coming back in 2026. But you've been talking to people, so
Okay, let's say worst case scenario, he misses the whole year. He's going to be ready the next year.
Yeah.
And then you've got a 2nd round pick that played pretty good this year.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? Throw him out?
Well, I mean, a good swing tackle is worth something. So, and he could be that swing tackle.
No.
All right, moving on.
I just think from a front office point of view, that's not smart.
Yeah. I would agree with that, but these are kind of weird circumstances where you've got this window.
Well, I don't know what it is, and I don't want to be condescending, but it's like you're thinking like a fan, and I'm thinking like kind of, and so
I get it.
You got to get it, and they go, well, no, we spent a 2nd round pick on the guy, and we were happy with him.
Yeah, I do like to remind you, though, is one of the last times I spoke like a fan, I said, we need to fire Matt Eberflus in season. And you said, there's no way that's going to happen. The Bears have never done it. And the next week you said the Bears need to fire Matt Eberflus.
Oh, go on.
Sometimes us fans are right.
Well, the team quit on him. And when the team quit,
well, and I kind
was
of
all
noticed
over.
that was already happening. So
you know where I saw that happen too? It's funny because, I mean, different sport.
Yeah.
Buffalo Sabres in hockey.
Oh,
They
yeah.
they hadn't been in the playoffs, the 15-year playoff drought.
Mm-hmm.
So word gets out that they were on like a 4 or 5 game Western road swing in early December.
Mm-hmm.
Word gets out that as soon as they come back, the GM's out.
Yeah.
So they win the last 2 games of that swing, and then they ended up winning 10 in a row. They got the best record in the NHL since that date.
Mm-hmm.
Only lost 5 games in a little over 3 months, and are now in first place in their division. They beat Tampa Bay, who was the best, beat them twice in the last 8 days.
Wow, look at that.
And so, so that is an example of it's the same players.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to a writer there, and he goes, the players couldn't stand him. They didn't believe in him. It wasn't the coach, it was the GM. They didn't believe in his vision.
Wow.
As soon as they knew he was gone, all of a sudden they started playing.
Interesting. That is wild. You know what? The Sabres have always been one of my favorite franchises as a kid. I just loved that logo with the buffalo and the swords and stuff, the Sabre swords crossing each other. I thought that was Raider-like. It was very cool. All right, we got a question regarding the cornerback of the Bears, who won't be with the Bears in about 48 hours or sooner, is Nahshon Wright. Too expensive for the Bears, right?
Well, as every minute goes by, price gets less.
Well, that's true. Great point. Yeah.
So let it play out.
Mm-hmm.
That
Would you like to see him back?
Well, yeah, the guy played pretty good.
Sure,
but you want to bring them back at your price, not their price.
Right. And their price is probably 12 to 14 million is what I read.
Oh, yeah, but I think they're guessing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's bullshitting nowadays.
So he's really a 1-year starter in his whole career.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. He's been a career backup and a practice squad player. Had a really good year.
Mm-hmm.
So he's earned a chance or an opportunity to test the market.
Yes.
Now he's doing it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're 6 hours in, something like that. Yeah. 6 hours in and another 15 minutes. And he doesn't have any money yet. That doesn't mean he can't get it tonight or tomorrow or the next day. But after about midday tomorrow, the money dries up. Then you start seeing the 1-year deals or maybe a 2-year deal. And, except for a couple players, the big money's all gone.
Yeah. Are you surprised that there haven't been any contract restructures done yet?
Somebody asked me this, and here's how I answered it. Who says there hasn't been? They don't have to announce it,
Oh, okay.
Okay, so they very well could have. And the way I answered it was this. They could have some of these things done. Number one, they don't need the money until Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay? So you could theoretically you can do those. They're instantaneous.
Mm-hmm.
And you got DocuSign now, so you just send him the addendum on his phone, he signs it and it's done. There's no negotiation. All you're doing is taking salary and transferring that into bonus money, and you send him a check. Mm-hmm. He doesn't lose a penny. So it's a really simple thing to do. Theoretically, they could have done it, and they're just not announcing it. And so why would they do that? Well, because they don't want other teams to know what they might be thinking and how much money they got.
Yes, indeed. Very
so they could have these deals in the hopper and not turned into the league.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is we don't know.
Yeah. J2K says the Poles has never restructured a contract, which is interesting because I was thinking that maybe Ryan Poles is hoping that he doesn't have to restructure a contract.
Well, I think they had 26-7 or something like that, give or take, going into
today. Yes.
Okay,
so it's probably around 14 now.
The Kobe Bryant number, OTC put it out. The cap number is like 5.6, 5.7 million this year.
Nice.
But it goes up. It goes up like 10 million a year the next 2 years.
Ooh, okay.
Excuse me, on the cap.
That means they'll be drafting a safety. But go ahead.
Probably.
Yeah.
But really you need 3 more. You need a starter and 2 backups. You can bring up, last year's backups, and you're going to get them, on cheap 1-year deals.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, let's get to a few more questions here. Let us go with Samuel has asked if you've looked at any of the tape for Boston College's left tackle Jude Bowery. And I saw him at the Senior Bowl, and I was not impressed. But your thoughts?
No, not really. I didn't think it was a need. So
It wasn't. It wasn't a Senior Bowl. It was the Shrine Bowl game. Jude Bowery was at the Shrine Bowl, if I remember correctly. But not impressed. I was thinking the same thing. Wouldn't it be cool if we got like a bridge left tackle for Ozzie, and he came from Boston College? So I started doing some work on him, and I was like, oh no, please stop, take that off. All right, more questions.
I'll go in that direction. Let me back up a little bit, because people were also saying, well, because they didn't know the center that they signed, were the Beans. So that means they're going to draft a center and he's going to start. No, it doesn't. This guy started 120 games and 6 playoff games, I think.
Yeah.
So, well, then they're going to draft one to start next year. That was Luke Newman's job. So they forget about what happened the year before.
Yeah, indeed. I'm glad you brought up Luke's name, because the idea of trading for Bradbury and giving Newman another year of taking snaps in practice at training camp with the scout team, and then him moving into the starting role in 2027 after Bradbury's contract is up with the Bears, to me makes perfect sense. It's genius.
Now, Luke had to play a half when Jackson went down in one of the games, and he was like, didn't miss a thing.
Yeah.
So he played really well. At center, he had, during the preseason, he only played in 2 of the preseason games at center. The other one he played guard. He did have some snap problems, not unusual. But here's the thing. His only game experience at center and his whole freaking life is those, 2 quarters as a center in preseason.
Yeah.
So he needs some time at that position. Guy's a good football player, but you're asking him to do a lot, and you want to make sure he's ready.
Yeah, indeed. All right, Greg, what are you hearing? This is really going to get you going. What are you hearing about Jalen Carter?
Well, I mean, it could be made up BS and stuff, but there's too much stuff that said, first of all, it said Philly's getting calls. That's not the way it works. You don't get calls unless you've already let it out that he may be available. Okay, so he is arguably the best defensive player on their team. Okay, throw out the character.
Yeah.
Worst character, best defensive player. And they just gave his college teammate who plays next to him all the money the other day. So
Jordan Davis.
Yeah. So it's like, that says like, we ain't paying him now. We're going to let him go. And why is that? He's your best player, but you might let him go. So to me, that we've over talked about that guy. He's not a good person.
Yeah,
as a good football player, he's not a good person.
According to K, I always get this wrong. KK, Brad Biggs this morning on 670 The Score said that the Jalen Carter story, he's questioning the origin of that story, just sort of like you are. Probably just made up.
Yeah, but Jeremy Fowler had it.
Oh, that's right. It was Fowler that first reported it.
I don't know if Fowler was first, but Fowler had it.
Gotcha.
And Fowler's pretty good.
Yeah. And Best Meat Marinade said he's hearing that Jalen Carter likes to argue, and doesn't like to, but argues with coaches. Yeah, I'm not surprised if that allegation is true. I'm not surprised at all. The guy is a firecracker ready to go off.
Yeah, that he's a you would say firecracker. He's a bomb waiting to explode in your
Bomb.
life.
That's a better analogy.
And you don't need that.
Yeah, not with our team. Not you don't get the best from good, better, and best with a guy like that. What are you hearing about? Let's see. This question is from J8K. Also curious, what center prospect would the Bears have at the top of their board if they're going to go in that way? If they, not.
There is no center at the top of the board.
But you don't think that there's a center on their board, like Slaughter or Jones?
No, they're not. The first earliest you take a center is the later part of the third round in this year's draft.
Right. So I still wrestle with this best player available thing, because I do believe it's best player available for position of needs.
It ends up working that way, but it's we've said it 1,000 times, Aldo. It's best player on the Bears board, not best player on Daniel Jeremiah's board or Mel Kiper's board or Dave.
I get that. But if on your board, and you explained the rating system that you had when you were director of scouting for the Chicago Bears, a little bit complicated with the numbers and the colors and stuff like that. But if on your board you've got two players who are similar, you're always going to go for the position of need.
Yeah.
Even if there's a slight advantage for the guy who is playing a position where you're loaded at, you're still going to go with the guy who's just a little lesser. Is that fair to say?
Okay, if I need an offense, if I got two players and they got an A67 grade. Now,
Right.
we had a plus and minus system at the end. The plus meant he was a fit. So let's assume we got two players that got an A67 plus grade. So it means they're fits for the scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then they got the same grade. So now you're taking the guy that they have a need.
Okay. So is it possible that they've got a center with a really high third or fourth round grade, and that may then kind of force their hand into selecting that center, despite the fact they have Newman as the backup?
I mean, they're going to be going, well, they'll only have a couple weeks of the offseason program at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But that would tell you, if they did something like that, that would tell you they don't have any confidence in Luke Newman.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it's not always easy to move from guard to center. So,
I don't see it. I put it this way. I've seen a bunch of the centers. There's guys that they're, and they say, oh yeah, there's a bunch in the third and fourth round. They're good. Well, if they're that good, why are they in an average draft? Why you got to, they're not going to come off the board to the third or fourth round.
I hear you.
Okay. I'd almost rather have Olin's kid in the seventh, because I know how good he is. He's undersized.
Yeah.
I mean, he's short, but number one, he's smarter than hell.
Yeah.
And he's just like his old man.
Interesting. Okay. Let's go with this question. What do you think right now, based on who the Bears are going to be signing officially? What do you think is the most pressing need right now for the Bears? Are you thinking left tackle? Are you thinking defensive end?
I'm told you what I thought about tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Another safety, another defensive tackle, one edge. Now, here's an interesting question. What happens to Shamar Turner? They're going to beef him up a little bit and have him play tackle because they want speed inside, and that's why they drafted him. That's the reason they drafted him last year. Or you're going to have him lose weight and play outside.
Yeah.
So you make that decision. If you make that decision, he's playing inside, then you need to say one more edge.
Right.
And you might need another anchor type guy, but they, supposedly they don't want that. Like the Ohio State kid, as much as I like him, might not be a fit because he can't run. We'll find out, on the pro day, and they'll watch him run a 4.9 or something. but he looks like he's going to be a 5'15", 5'18" type of guy. That's the way he plays. The kid from Missouri ran 5'05". He's more athletic.
Yeah. Okay. Now, let me ask you this regarding Turner. He had a ACL. He tore the ACL in that Week 8 loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Do you consider that when you are saying gain weight or lose weight or anything like that? Because it could impact.
No, it's not going to impact. I mean, by now, he's doing a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So he's getting. Well, here's the other thing that, you could Google and say, what's the rehab time on a torn patella? Well, they're giving you what Google will give you is for if you and I tore our patella tendon and
not an
got to
athlete.
do the rehab. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
They're not talking about professional athletes. These guys are doing rehab all day, every day. That's their job.
Yeah.
So, when I had a knee replacement, when I tore my Achilles, I had rehab 3 times a week, an hour each time. Okay. They do more than that on Monday morning. Okay. Just to compare it. So then you got Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon. They're doing it all day. And so they come back that much faster.
Gotcha. All right. Well, then let us move on to a different topic. Oh, Ho Loco is asking something that I've wanted you to do for years, but you've never said yes to, and that is, Greg, are you ready to do a mock draft?
Never.
Just for us fans' sake?
Never.
What about the week of the actual draft? That week, just the Bears picks.
No, because you don't know who's going to be available. To me, they're fantasy football, and
sure.
You do a mock draft, and it's like as soon as one comes out of place, then the rest of it's off. And so, and again, I'm smart enough to know that there's 32 different boards, and none of the boards look alike.
Yeah.
So it's to me, it's an exercise in futility.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the defensive end position. Dayo Odembo sent out a tweet saying that he felt motivated with what's happened today with the Chicago Bears signings. I'm hoping that he comes back better than ever because there's so much money invested in him. There's just no way to get out of that contract for 2026 without having to eat a lot. What are your thoughts about the defensive end position? Could the Bears draft one in the first round or early second if they trade down?
Yeah. And they could go, I mean, theoretically, you could go safety. Throw out linebacker. They already took care of it. They could go safety. But safety is not unless there's a special player there, that's not a first-round player. Okay, so history says you can always get good safeties later.
Yeah.
And they end up making a lot of money. So that's you'll probably get one. That's where you need that pick for Ian. That's where that helps. It's one or two defensive linemen, a safety. You got to get a receiver, maybe two. But they might sign, they still could sign a vet.
Sure. But
you got to replace DJ. You don't have DJ's replacement on the roster right now. No, you could say the kid from last year.
Ja'Day Walker?
Yeah, you could say Ja'Day is the guy. But that's like saying you and I are the guy because it's a question mark. He played pretty good when asked when he had 5 catches. 6 catches, something like that on the whole year.
Right.
So you want him to jump into being number 3. I'm not saying he doesn't have the physical traits to do it. We know he can do it. But if he's the man,
Mm-hmm.
Can he do it on a consistent basis, week after week after week?
Yeah.
And like every year, it's another strong wide receiver class.
I know a lot of Bears fans were taking a look at Nakobe Dean as a possible replacement at the linebacker position. And according to our guy, Mike McCartney, he is signing a 3-year deal with the Raiders. The Raiders.
Well, they took care of linebacker. They re-signed Jackson, and then they got the other guy, Devin Bush.
Yeah,
so they've taken care of it. So you got to get another safety, and you got to get some backups.
Right.
And you got to get at least one and probably two defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to get a couple wide receivers.
Right. Yeah, there's still a lot of work to be done, absolutely, for this team, which is going to lead me back to my favorite topic is, should the Chicago Bears trade down? And, there's spots lower in the first round that they could potentially move with Kansas City, Seattle, but I'd like to see them acquire a third second-round pick. They've got 2 now, and also like a early day 3 pick.
Well, you got to move down to get that. You got to move down away. I mean, what do you?
So, are you saying you got to get like a late second rounder and then a late fourth rounder for the 25th pick?
Let me just see. They're at 25, right? Let me get the draft chart up.
720 points is what I remember.
Got it
up? No, it's just my memory, which is not always very reliable. Let's see. It's on Draft Tech.
I know, but sometimes let me get the Draft Tech here. Okay, so the Bears are picking 25, and that's 720 points.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's say you drop down to 33, first pick in the second round.
Yeah,
that's 580 points.
Right.
So you're only 100 difference.
I'm sorry.
That 140 points equates to a low third.
Okay.
Okay. So the team, now you can finagle these things. You can, do some flips with the picks to get the points right and stuff like that. But you better mute me for a second here, buddy.
Okay.
Let me a second.
He is muted, and I am looking at Draft Tech to see if I can get that up on our screen. It's just basically a real mishmash of numbers. Let me unmute Greg. All right, Greg, you are back.
Yeah, I to go more than say 10 spots, then you're taking yourself out of a strong area.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It depends how their board's lined up.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's probably more so going to happen than not going to happen. Just looking at, what you see, the lineup of guys like, Dane and DJ, how they got guys rated. Now, granted, that's their opinion, but still it gives you a rough idea. And you're saying, okay, if that's the case, and you know what you want to do, well, maybe you're better off dropping down to 34, 35, 36, and getting a third round pick. And chances are you're going to get the same freaking player that you take at 25 at 34.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and Daniel Jeremiah tweeted that out. He says there is a sweet spot in this upcoming draft between 35 and 75 that he thinks the 36 player is very close in evaluation scores to 75. That's why I think trading down, because at 25, unless somebody falls down to 25 that you say this is a bona fide deal for us at pick number 25, then you don't trade down. But if you're stuck with guys like Caleb Banks, who has huge question marks, or somebody else who has huge question marks, trade down is what I'm suggesting.
Caleb has, just to use him, his ceiling is way up here. They haven't made the floor yet. It's that low because, he wasn't that good in 2024, and he played 96 snaps all year in 2025. So, he had some good reps at the Senior Bowl. Well, don't draft a guy off of just what he did at the Senior Bowl, because then you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying don't take him.
No, I agree with you.
You better be sure when you do take him.
Yep. We'll be talking more about possible trading down in future episodes, but I want to get back to what the Chicago Bears did today. Greg, I just got, I'm talking like a fan again, which I tend to do because I've never been employed by an NFL football team, but I do get the feeling that the Bears signed 3 potential Pro Bowl caliber players today. This is huge. These 3 players could have made the Pro Bowl last year, but for some reason, I'm talking about Devin Bush. I'm talking about the defensive tackle we just acquired and the linebacker.
I don't know if he's a Pro Bowler.
And safety. Really?
He's a good player. I don't think he's a Pro Bowler.
Okay.
No, he's a good, solid. He might not be played 43% of the downs for the Colts last year. He only played for the Colts 1 year with Dallas and then with the Rams. Dallas 4 years, the Rams 1 year. I lost my train of thought here. He had 3.5 sacks. He can rush the passer, but you'd rather have even better in there on your pass downs when you get into your sub package. And that's where you move like a Deo inside.
Yeah, gotcha.
In the pass rush. And then you have Booker or somebody else coming off the edge, or a combination of that. So it's that's why I say he's not a Pro Bowl player. He's a good, solid player.
Gotcha. Okay. But he's not a scrub as somebody.
The guy who would have the best chance is Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, absolutely. This kid is phenomenal.
He's a player.
Yes. And Mike McDonald, the coach of the Seahawks, moved him from cornerback. He was a slot corner to the safety position, and that's where he has thrived. He's been outstanding. Now, somebody who was that? Lovie Smith, Burner Con says that Gallimore is a scrub. No effing way he's a scrub. He is a good defensive tackle. Get out of here. Are you high? So,
no, it is, because when I see comments like that, it just riles me. They don't know the name, so he sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is. And and then you see the guy and he starts making plays. You know who they said that about? Billings, when they signed him a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Whoa, big fat guy. What are they signing him for? Best freaking defensive lineman they had.
I mean, a run stuffer, and I think the Bears made a mistake by asking him to gain weight when, in fact, they realized that was not in his best interest as a player, but never mind. Lovie Smith says, we don't know the name because he sucks. No, you don't know the name because you don't know the game, Lovie. So get the hell out of here. I hate to call you Lovie because I love Lovie Smith.
No, but that's the truth. Like the Bradbury. Oh, my God. Well, as it turns out, because the Bears know a lot more than we know of what's going to happen in the market.
Yes.
Guess what? They got the right guy.
Yeah.
Okay. You weren't going to give Linderbaum $27 million a year. That wasn't going to happen.
No way.
Okay. And then the next best guy from the Bills, he goes back to the Bills. They knew this was going to happen.
Yep. Indeed.
So they get a feel. They're talking to these people starting at the combine. You're trying to get a feel what it's going to cost you.
Yeah.
And you got a price point on each player. I want so-and-so, but this is what I want them for.
Yeah. Right.
And when it goes over, I'll tell you a perfect example was the San Francisco right tackle.
Mike McGlinchey.
Okay, that was the guy they wanted. And they knew before free agency started that they weren't going to get him because it already went above the dollar point that they wanted to spend. And that's when they made the decision to draft Wright.
Lovie Smith says that he's going to call them as he sees them. He's not going to glaze everything like we do. Get out of here.
The general manager of the Colts isn't going to bullshit me, and he gave him a glowing review. Then Ted Monago of the Rams, who had him for 1 year, also gave him a raving review. Those guys have worked with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to know what this Lovie Smith, how many games, how much tape did you see of this player before you started calling him a scrub? Because I got a feeling you didn't see any tape. So, bear down.
He doesn't know the name. I don't know him, so he can't be any good. Well, he's their starting nose tackle.
Yeah.
The Colts, until they lost Daniel Brown to his injury. What do you have, a torn Achilles? They're 8-1.
Yeah. Yeah, how about that? Hey, great question here from Bear Down. Who do you think it could be a possible restructure candidate for the Bears? Because the bad part about what Ryan posted is he restructured deals that would go into the part where you knew this player was not going to be playing for the Bears anymore. So,
what happens is, and I don't know the length of some of these contracts.
Okay,
let's say a guy's got 3 years left on his deal. Okay, when you do the restructure, you take a salary. You could use Montez Sweat. I think he's got 3 years left. His salary this year is like $24 million. I don't have over the cap. So you could take 15 of that, okay, and turn that 15 into bonus.
Right.
So now his salary becomes, $10 million instead of $25 million. He's getting a check for $15 million the day he does it, So, so he's not losing any money. But now that gets amortized differently, gets amortized over the rest of the contract. Now you could add void years. That's where you get in trouble.
Yeah.
Because then the void years take up that percentage of the bonus. Or the other thing is Tremaine Edmonds. That could have been a guy that could have been a candidate for a restructure, right? But he's not in the plans. So if you're not in, you don't want to restructure anybody that you know is not going to be here. So
that's
TJ Edwards.
Yeah. That's
okay. You don't want to, Jansari's probably not going to be here next year. Why would you do his deal? Because then you're going to be paying for it. Next year, the year after, the year after.
Yeah.
So you just do the guys. So you do JJ, you do Montez Sweat. Those are the types of players that you do it for. Excuse me.
You bet. Okay. Got just a few late questions coming in here in the last 10, 15 minutes that we got. So you answered the restructure question. Trent Williams, apparently the Niners have not extended
$38 million cap. And so he's 37.
So he's not coming to the Bears. That's just out of the question. Even if he, accepted $20 million from the Bears.
Well, no, because if he gets traded, you're
got
trading for his contract.
Gotcha. Yeah.
He'd have to get cut.
Yeah.
And if he got cut, the 49ers would take a huge cap hit on the remainder of the thing. But his cap number for this year was like 37 or 38 million.
Gotcha.
And he's 37 years old.
You've seen a lot of Jeremiah Love, the Notre Dame running back, and our guy AKW is asking, is he the best running back prospect since Barkley?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, the more and more I see this guy, he's
not as big as, actually ran faster. not as big. Barkley at the combine was 225, something like that, 228.
Yeah, right.
And this guy's 212. He might max out at 220. You know, he's got a different shaped body,
Yes.
a little taller, longer.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's so explosive.
Yeah.
And for a guy, when you would look at his body and say he doesn't look strong, just watch him play. He plays real strong.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. He's
The one play that sticks out was in the playoffs a year ago against Penn State, where they had, I think it was a 4th and goal.
Okay.
And they gave him the ball, and it goes around, you know, the left side, and he gets hit around the 5-yard line, has to break at least 3 tackles, maybe 4, and drags people into the end zone to get the touchdown. He was not going to be denied. It's one of the short little run, 4 or 5-yard run, but it's one of the best runs you'll ever see.
It's a signature run, no doubt about it. Now, the one guy that I was really disappointed with his comp numbers, not to say that he's going to be a bad NFL player, is his teammate, Jadarian Price.
4.49 was the official time.
Yeah, okay.
I thought, you know, he ran 4.50 on the clock they had on the screen, then the official time was 4.49.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good player. He's got so many long runs. He's got a 98 or 99-yard kickoff return. Also, you know, 4.49 for a running back's pretty good.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. Do you think that the Chicago Bears might be looking for DeAndre Swift's successor in this draft? This is not a strong running back class in terms of a lot of depth.
You know, running backs, you look at the history of the position and how many good guys you get on day 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you get another guy on day 3.
Yeah. Well, because I don't think Kyle Monangai is ready for 25 carries a game. I think they're using him the way he should be used.
The way he runs, I don't know if he'd last real long at 25.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. This is a running back by committee team. Were you surprised, by the way, of David Montgomery's trade by the Lions?
I'm surprised at the money he got on the restructure. That was absolutely nuts.
That is nuts. I'm telling you. Do you think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be like the one back guy for the Lions, or are they going to get somebody?
No, they got to get somebody else.
Yeah, because Gibbs, you know, he's probably the top 3 running back in the league, but having him carry it 25 times a game isn't going to get it done for the Lions. That's for sure, especially with Larry Borum blocking. Yes, the Lions are going to suck bad. All right, Greg, anything else you want to share with your fans before we pull the plug on this episode of GTF?
No, I think we got it all. I'm surprised nothing else came in.
Yeah, me too.
In this hour and a half, but hey, you know, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. And I will tell people that tonight, I think it's an 8 p.m. start for Draft on Top. Aaron Current and Danny Shimon. Best way to stay on top of our live programming is to subscribe to the channel and then put that alert button on. You'll get a notice on your device that we are live with programming. Greg, can you stick around for 5 minutes?
Yep.
I want to get some information out of you.
Yeah.
All right, take care, everybody.